Hello, my name is Ramiro Marroquin, and I am presenting my my group project on obedience for the social psychology course for Dr. Everbrink. I am a junior in here at University of North Texas at Dallas, and I'm here to present my part of the presentation. Uh, so the first thing I want to talk about is conformity. Now, conformity is defined as a change in behavior or belief as a result of real or imaginary group pressure. Now, excuse me, I'm just making sure this is still recording. Okay, good. Okay, so conformity is we have a picture on here in the presentation, which unfortunately I cannot show due to the nature of which I am presenting. Uh, is a picture of five zebras. Now, for the zebras, they're kind of faced towards. They kind of have they're facing the front with their heads kind of facing me in this picture, and their behinds behind them. But one of the zebras uh, is facing me here with this behind here in this picture. Now, and this is a good example of what conformity is. Conformity is basically, and I believe this would better be done by giving an example. Conformity is basically, let's say you're out with some friends of yours, and you all decide you want to go to a Burger King or McDonald's or wherever you want to go. You want to go to a restaurant. But see, let's say your friends decide that they want to go to Burger King. But let's say you're not a fan of Burger King, so you're like kind of like, no, you don't really like Burger King, but but the thing is, like, you don't want to be rude. You don't want to sit there and be rude to your friends or raise a fuss or raise issues, right? So you say, okay, we'll go to Burger King. That's what conformity is. Conformity is basically going along what the group wants, uh, kind of getting into that group think and kind of just sacrificing what your individual needs are for the sake of the group. This could be in a project, any kind of situation, uh, project situation, an assignment. This happens in everyday life. Now, the importance. Now, the objective of our experiment was to determine whether whether this sort of obedience to authority figures is so relevant today. Because as many of us know, the Milgram experiments that were conducted in the 60s and afterwards were some of the first experiments that occurred of that nature, and it showed that given certain cues and certain stimuli, people will be obedient to reputable authority figures. But what we wanted to do is we wanted to take what Milgram did and kind of modernize it, using some stimulus material just to determine whether this kind of obedience to authority figures is still a relevant topic in today's world. Okay, so, and it's still this material we used. Well, I'm going to go over that later. So basically, and this is just another slide on our argument. Argument was that will our stimulus material, with the combination of a jacket, a safety cone, and authority figure, make people want to be compliant and do what we want them to do. And I'll explain that further. Okay, so here who participated in our experiment were students and professors that either work, go to school here at the University of North Texas at Dallas. Factors such as age, gender, and race varied. About 26 females and 13 males in total participated in our experiment, so that's about 39 participants in total. So an interesting lot. Find it very interesting that women. We found a lot of women, female participants, and I found it very interesting because when I was calculating the data and I was trying to come up with charts and graphs and such, I found it really interesting that we had a lot more female participants than male participants. So yeah, that's something that's kind of interesting. I don't know if it was just the time of day or uh, the situation at hand, but yeah, that's kind of what we had there. Okay. Okay. So okay, here we go. So materials we used for this experiment were a traffic cone, a high visibility jacket, a clipboard, a cell phone camera, two variations of a survey, professional clothing outfit, and a casual clothes outfit. First condition, conformity. Now as far as procedures are concerned, we did this in 3 ways. We first of all, first we did the conformity portion, in which we placed a single cone on a parking spot, which is what our experiment was. Now our experiment was, if we put this cone on the parking spot, nobody's going to want to park there. This was the first part. And surprisingly enough, most of the time, when that cone was in position, I would say about 85 to 90% of our participants sort of just they saw the cone there, they assumed it was under construction or what have you, and they were just like, okay, I'll just go go to the next whatever free spot they have. Now, keep in mind, though, that this wasn't always the truth. Some individuals, and there's actually a video and a link that's attached to this PowerPoint but due to the way I'm presenting this, I can't really show it. But I can tell you, my kind of our experience. Now, we had an instance where a gentleman, decided to sort of a gentleman was backing into the spot with the cone in place. About, I believe, 3 of our members were there. 3 members were outside by the cone. And they actually managed to actually knock over the cone while they're backing up. It's very interesting because the way that he just kind of blatantly just kind of rolled in there and parked the car and whatnot, it kind of shows that although in this phase of the experiment, most people just kind of obeyed. Some people were just I had a place to be, or they had a test to do, or whatever, and they just sort of were like, oh, I gotta park, I gotta go, that sort of thing. So we had some instances where some individuals just were too impatient, just kind of backed in. So it's very interesting.